We take so many steps to protect our physical homes. We scrub the floors, we dust the shelves, we lock the doors at night, and we double-check the windows before we sleep. Some of us even install security cameras, motion sensors, alarm systems, anything to keep our families and belongings safe. We go to great lengths to make sure that nothing harmful enters our homes. But here's what most people never stop to think about. What about the doors we've left wide open? Not physically, but spiritually? Because Shaitan, Satan, he doesn't need a key. He doesn't break windows. He doesn't ring doorbells. He enters through silence. He walks into our homes not through shattered glass or unlocked gates, but through the moments when Allah's name is absent. He finds his way in through forgetfulness, through heedlessness, through the vacuum left behind when the remembrance of Allah has been neglected. And maybe you've already sensed the signs without realizing what they meant. Sudden tension between family members, arguments that seem to start from nothing, a heaviness that clings to the walls, no matter how good the lighting or how cozy the furniture. There's an invisible weight pressing down, and you don't quite know where it's coming from. It's like something's off in your space, in your atmosphere, in your own heart. But here's the uncomfortable truth that's rarely spoken aloud. If you're not actively protecting your home with the words of Allah, then, by default, you're passively allowing Shaitan to stay. Let that sink in. In this video, we're not merely listing 5 verses. We're not giving you information for the sake of knowledge. We're sharing 5 powerful shields, 5 divine protections. Each one is like a lock on a spiritual door, a fortress against the influence of Shaitan. And these are not verses that Shaitan just dislikes. They are verses he cannot stand to hear. So, if you're truly serious about purifying your space, if you're ready to clean not just your home, but the atmosphere inside it, then this is exactly where you need to begin. 1. The verse that locks out Shaitan from your door. Let's be honest with ourselves. We're diligent about locking our homes at night. We check the front door, sometimes 2 or 3 times. We latch the windows. We might even activate an entire home security system, all in the name of safety. But when was the last time we thought about securing our homes spiritually? You see, Shaitan doesn't need to pick locks. He doesn't need to break into your house. He doesn't have to wait for the door to creak open. He strolls right in through neglect. He walks into homes where Allah's name isn't mentioned, where his book is gathering dust, where the verses of light are replaced with noise, distraction, and heedlessness. But the Prophet Muhammad didn't leave us unprotected. He gave us one verse, just one, not a chapter, not a book, one ayah that can transform your space into a guarded sanctuary. Ayat al-Kursi. The Messenger of Allah said, "Whoever recites Ayat al-Kursi at night, Allah will appoint a guardian over him, and no shaitan will come near him until morning." Just think about that for a moment. You don't need to light incense. You don't need a long ruqya session. You don't need elaborate rituals. Just one verse, one simple, powerful ayah. And Allah assigns a guardian, a divine security guard who stands at your door, preventing any whispering, any darkness, any presence of Shaitan from coming near your home. But how often do we take this lightly? We mumble Ayat al-Kursi in a rush. We forget to recite it all together, and then, when our homes feel tense, when our sleep is disturbed, when we feel anxious or spiritually unsettled, we wonder why. The shift is simple. You don't have to wait for something to go wrong before you use this verse. Make it a daily habit. Recite it after every salah. Recite it before you go to sleep. Recite it as you walk through your home in the evening, room by room. Don't just lock the front door, lock the spiritual entrance. Leave your home not just protected by brick and metal, but by light, because Shaitan doesn't fear technology. He doesn't tremble at alarms. He fears the light of Allah's words. And Ayat al-Kursi, it's one of the brightest, most powerful lights that Allah has given us. 2. The verses that guard your chest from unseen heaviness. You've felt it before, that heavy feeling, a tightness in your chest that has no clear cause. You're not exactly sad, but you're definitely not at ease. You brush it off as tiredness, stress, maybe a bad night's sleep, but deep down, you know it's something more. It's not physical. It's not even fully emotional. It's something spiritual. Because one of the most subtle, most dangerous attacks of Shaitan is when he slides into your thoughts, into your silence. He doesn't always show up with drama. Sometimes he shows up with a sigh, with an invisible sadness, with unexplained irritation. But Allah, in His mercy, didn't leave us alone. He didn't just give us advice. He gave us 2 full surahs, 2 divine shields specifically crafted to guard your heart and mind. Surah Al-Falaq and Surah An-Naas. Say, I seek refuge with the Lord of the daybreak. Say, I seek refuge with the Lord of mankind. The Prophet Muhammad used to recite these every night before sleeping. Not once, not twice, 3 times. He would blow them into his palms and then wipe them over his body, his chest, his face, his arms, protecting himself from everything he couldn't even see. He said, no one can seek protection with anything better than these 2 surahs. Because here's the thing. Sometimes you don't even know what you're protecting yourself from. The attack isn't visible. It's not a person. It's not a clear problem. It's whispers. It's unrest. It's a spiritual weight that no medication can fix. And these surahs, they're not bedtime stories for children. They are armor. They guard your peace. They protect your rest. They shield your sanity. So the next time you feel that heaviness, don't scroll. Don't distract yourself with noise. Recite. Let the words of Allah cleanse what you can't even describe. Because Shaitan knows, if you bring the Qur'an into your battle, he's already lost. The verse that stops Shaitan from stealing your salah. You perform wudu. You prepare for prayer. You stand and say, Allahu Akbar. And that's when it begins. Your thoughts drift. Suddenly, you remember an unread message. A conversation you had 2 days ago, something you need to cook, a regret from last week, a random thought about work. Before you know it, you've finished the prayer, but you don't remember actually praying. You were present physically, but spiritually, mentally, you were everywhere else. That's not a coincidence. That's Shaitan at work. The Prophet Muhammad said, when the call to prayer is made, Shaitan runs away. But when the prayer starts, he returns and begins whispering, reminding the person of things they had forgotten. It's a strategy. His goal is to steal your salah, to take what should be your most intimate moment with Allah and fill it with noise. But Allah gave us a verse. It's short, but it slices straight through the distractions. Establish the prayer to remember me. Surah Taha, 2014. That's the entire point of salah. Not movement, not performance, remembrance. So when you prepare for prayer, remind yourself of this verse. Whisper it before you begin. Anchor yourself in its message, because when you pray with presence, with awareness, Shaitan loses his grip. The verse that lifts you. When sadness becomes a weapon. There are days when everything just feels off. You're not committing any major sins. You're not in crisis. You're not doing anything wrong per se. But still, there's a sadness you can't shake, a disconnection, a spiritual fatigue that even a full night's sleep doesn't fix. And it's during these moments that Shaitan uses one of his most subtle tricks. He plants doubt. He whispers, "You're not good enough. Your du'as aren't working. Look at you. You're still the same. Why are you even trying?" And if we're not careful, we start to believe it. That quiet sadness grows into distance, from prayer, from dua, from hope. We stop trying because we think it's pointless. But Allah knew. He saw this coming, and so He sent a verse, soft, simple and profoundly powerful. Do not grieve. Indeed, Allah is with us. Surah Tawbah 9:40. This verse was revealed in a moment of absolute desperation, when the Prophet was hiding in a cave, hunted, betrayed, and seemingly abandoned. And yet, the divine message wasn't fight, it wasn't be strong, it was, don't be sad, Allah is with you. That's what Shaitan wants us to forget, not just that Allah exists, but that He is near. He sees the silent tears. He sees the nights you spend holding yourself together. He sees you showing up, even when you're empty. So when you feel low, when you feel like nothing is working, when your heart is tired, recite this verse. Let it remind you that you are never truly alone. 5. The verse that covers you. When you feel like you can't go on. Sometimes the pain has no words. It's not just sadness. It's not fear. It's something deeper. It feels like your heart has been carrying too much for too long. And that's when Shaitan strikes hardest. He whispers doubt. Maybe Allah isn't helping you. Maybe this pain is punishment. Maybe you're not worthy of ease. That's how he begins. He takes your pain and turns it into doubt. And if that doubt sits too long, it begins to change how you see everything. But Allah, Al-Hakim, the Most Wise, knew we would face moments like this. And so, He gave us a verse that doesn't just soothe, it anchors. Allah does not burden a soul more than it can bear. Surah Al-Baqarah 2:286. This isn't a motivational slogan. It's a divine fact. Whatever you're carrying right now, your soul was built to endure it. That's not opinion. That's Qur'an. And when you believe this, when you whisper it to yourself in the middle of your pain, Shaitan starts to lose. Because you're reminding yourself, Allah sees me, Allah trusts me, Allah still loves me, even like this. This verse won't make your test vanish, but it gives you a shelter within the storm. And sometimes, all you need is that one place to breathe. Final reflections. My dear brothers and sisters, sometimes we wait for a dramatic sign to start protecting ourselves. We expect it to come through a dream, or a disaster, or some life-altering event. But the signs were already there. That heavy feeling in the home, the distractions during prayer, the emotional exhaustion that routines couldn't fix. And while we rush to adjust our schedules and habits, we forget protection begins with the words of Allah. The Qur'an isn't just for reading, it's for shielding. The Prophet said, recite the Qur'an, for on the day of judgment it will come as an intercessor for its companion. The same verses that guard your home today might speak for you on the day you meet Allah. So tonight, take a moment. Don't scroll, don't delay. Pick one verse, recite it slowly, let it live inside you. And if this reminder touched your heart, please take a moment to write this dua in the comments. Ya Allah, protect my heart and home, because your words may be the reason someone else finds their way back too. And don't forget, liking, sharing, and subscribing costs nothing, but it helps spread reminders that can touch lives, soften hearts, and perhaps even change destinies. May the words of Allah be your light in this life, your shield in every storm, and your companion on the day you return to Him. Ameen.